Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick comparison here between the baitcast reel and the spinning reel. I'm going to try to keep this as unbiased as humanly possible. I do have a favorite, but I'm going to try to not influence your decision. So that being said, I'm going to start off with a baitcast reel. I got some pros and cons of each of these. So baitcast reels can be difficult to learn. I struggled a lot at first when I learned how to use a baitcaster. I lost a lot of line, backlashed a ton, gave up on them for a while, then came back, and eventually I learned how to use it. But they are very difficult to learn at first, and it'll take some getting used to for sure. So baitcasting reels do not do well with light lures. I don't throw anything weightless on my baitcaster, and in fact I usually don't throw anything less than 1/8 of an ounce. I like to keep my lures somewhat heavy because when this spool spins and you're not it's harder to control when you have a light lure on the line, because you have to put a little bit more force into it, and that spool's not going to stop spinning, which will make it a little bit harder to control. So when it comes to power fishing, the baitcaster reel cannot be beat. Whether you're throwing a spinnerbait, crankbait, buzzbait, anything of that nature, you cannot beat a baitcaster for that. Baitcasters come in very high gear ratios. Spinning reels don't have as high of a gear ratio as baitcast reels do. Baitcast reels, they have 7-1-1 is the common one. I know they have 8-1s, 9-1s. I think I've even seen 10-1s out there. So the gear ratio on these are a lot better for power fishing. So then another con to baitcasters is that they can be fairly expensive. Usually for a decent one, you're going to be looking at around 100 to 200 bucks. This is the Bass Pro Qualifier. I'd recommend it to anybody. I've had very good luck on this. Abu Garcia makes good reels. I've also used Pflueger, and Quantum makes good reels as well. Abu Garcia is my #1 go-to. I actually broke my last one, but they are very solidly built reels. But for the money, you cannot beat the Bass Pro Qualifier. About 100 bucks, I think, right now. They might go down in price with the Spring Fishing Classic coming up. I'm not sure. I love this reel. This is a 5-2-1 gear ratio. Wish I would have gotten a little bit higher, but I'm using this for my jig rod right now, so it's not a huge deal, even though, yes, I do have a crankbait on here, but it's winter time, so I can fish it slower, which is good. So once you learn how to use a baitcaster properly, you can get some really good casting distance with it. Usually, there's several factors that work into that, depending on your braking system, your spool tensioner, your rod length, your lure weight. When all of those factors come together, you can get some really good casting distance out of a baitcasting reel. So next we move on to the spinning reel, and I'll be honest, I don't have that many cons for this one. So spinning reels are easy to use. Honestly, the only thing I could see going wrong is if you put too much line in the spool and then you open the bail and it goes out everywhere. That's really the only thing I could think of that would make you have a hard time using this. Got seagulls everywhere. Oh, I need to fish over there. So spinning reels are cheap. This is actually a higher end one. This is an Abu Garcia. I want to say it's the Orra S. Very good reel. I've been using it for about a year and a half now. No complaints. It retails at about 70 bucks. 70 bucks well spent. How many bearings is this thing? It's a 7 bearing system. Very nice. Yeah, no problems with it whatsoever. You can get a really nice reel actually for around 30 bucks with a spinning reel. Abu Garcia makes another one. I believe it's the Cardinal S. It retails at about 30 bucks. If it's over 5 bearings, it's usually a good reel. So the one advantage that spinning reels have over baitcasters is that they're very good for finesse and very good for weightless lures. You can see I got a weightless worm on here that I just threw on there for an example. I'll throw anything I throw weightless, I'm going to use my spinning reel, or drop shotting I like to do on my spinning reel. Anything of that nature, anything that requires finesse. Baitcasters don't really seem to be all that good for that, but the spinning reel really excels at that. So spinning reels tend to be a lot less maintenance than baitcasters because they have a lot less parts. Baitcaster reel, you have to take apart just about everything, grease everything up, make sure it runs properly, whereas a spinning reel only has a few parts, and you don't have to maintenance them as often as you do a baitcaster. I maintenance my baitcaster usually twice a year just to play it safe. Usually whenever I change line, I'll grease up my parts. My spinning reel, I'll only go once every 1 or 2 years, honestly, and I've never had a problem with it. So another area where I think that the spinning reel excels is when it comes to bank fishing with trees around. I got nice limbs all around me. With a baitcaster reel, you need to have a lot of motion with your rod in order to get your bait to go anywhere. What's nice about a spinning reel is that you do not have to control the spool, unlike a baitcaster. With a baitcaster, you have to have a lot of rod movement and you have to control the spool in order for it to go anywhere. With a baitcaster, I need very little movement and I don't have to control the spool, and it'll make a nice distance. I barely move my rod there. If I were using my baitcaster, I would probably backlash and probably wouldn't go very far at all. So when it comes down to it, which one do I prefer? I prefer the baitcaster. I used to be a huge spinning reel fan until I actually learned how to use my baitcaster, and honestly, I think a lot of people are that same way. I don't want to call anyone out, but I think that the baitcaster is good for just about anything, and I know a lot of people don't like to fish weightless like I do. That's really the only time I'll ever use my spinning reel. I honestly think that a baitcaster is a much better option, unless, of course, you're bank fishing. But I think that the baitcaster is a better option, even though they are a little bit more expensive and they can be tricky to use. I think that they're honestly much better. So with that being said, thanks for watching the video, guys. Please don't start any fights in my comment section about which one's better. I know there's debates out there going on all the time, and I don't want any fights to be starting in my comment section. So thanks very much for watching, and watch for more videos coming soon.